A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible. I welcome you to this session, XAT 2023. We'll talk about popular previous year questions of XAT. Okay, so the target, of course, is the year 23, but let's see what all kinds of questions come in XAT, how to approach these questions, right? And moreover, let's learn how to eliminate. That's very, very important in XAT because there are 5 options. Okay, and elimination is where students win or lose out on, right? From a snap point of view, Varun, yes, it will be useful for vocabulary, for grammar, right? It will also be useful for parajumbles. So we have all these 3 components today here: vocabulary, parajumbles, grammar. So in that sense, it will be useful for snap too. Good noon, all of you who are just joining. Hi Charu, hi Maitri, hello Disha, hi Jaisuman. A very good noon. All right then, let's begin. So, as I've already told you, okay, we'll identify the various question types. Today, we'll talk about that verbal ability and poem comprehension. Okay, I haven't brought reading comprehension questions today. Why? Because I wanted you to understand that it's not just the RCs that you have to prepare for. 14 out of 26 questions last year, they were not from RC passages. They were from vocabulary, grammar, critical reasoning, parajumbles, and poem comprehension. Collectively, these 5 areas formed 14 out of 26 questions, a little more than 50%. Yes? So you should know how to approach them. You should prepare for them. And of course, how do we prepare for them? I'll also discuss that with you when we come to those question types. Okay? Vignesh, if you're talking about SNAP, for the last 2 years, there haven't been any RC. However, the name of the section is General English and Reading Comprehension. So we cannot eliminate this possibility that RCs may appear, right? In that, you do get 4 RCs at least, okay? Best sources for RC practice, okay, apart from previous year questions. So Arushi, apart from previous year questions, some of your, let me just write it down here. Some of your CAT previous year passages, previous year RCs are of this level. Okay. So your CAT previous year RCs, in case you did not practice some of them, I think post 2000, your CAT previous year RCs, some of them match up to the XAT level. Apart from this, in case you've already practiced all CAT previous year RCs, then some of the GMAT RC passages, so they are there in GMAT official guide, right? Some of them are again of XAT level, right? Why am I saying some of them? See, in GMAT RCs, they tend to be more on the logical side, more critical reasoning based, so to say. In XAT, in addition to critical reasoning, sometimes you have questions such as further application, right? Wherein they ask you to apply something that you've learned to a new situation, new scenario. 5 new scenarios will be given to you in the question stems. So some of them, they are of this level. The best source, however, still remains XAT previous year papers only. Okay, because XAT's approach to RCs is a little different, right? So XAT previous year RCs, apart from that CAT, some of the RCs, GMAT, some of the RCs, they are of XAT level. Also, yes, keep taking mocks and sectionals, because when we create mocks, our effort is to replicate, okay, the level, the kind of questions that have been asked in that previous year RC. So mocks are always created with that in mind, right? So these will be your sources. Okay, just a second. Good noon, all of you. Yes, we do have sectional cutoffs in XAT, right? They tend to be low, but they are there. This will be useful for SNAP vocabulary, grammar, and parajumbles. Poem comprehension is not something that's present in SNAP. In fact, poems are there in SNAP, but then so far they've asked grammar questions based on SNAP, based on poems, right? So to that extent, it will not be useful. Otherwise, majority of the session is useful for both XAT and SNAP, right? Okay. Hello, good noon. Those who've just joined. How many RCs are a good attempt? Sef, there is no such, I can't say that attempt 3 out of 4 RCs and that will be a good attempt. Because again, every student's approach is different. Some students attempt all the 4 RCs, but in let's say each RC, they'll attempt just 2 out of 3 questions. right? Some students go for 3 RCs, but they are very confident that in these 3 RCs they'll attempt all the 3 questions. Basically, you have 3 questions in your 4 RCs, right? So 12 questions. So some students attempt just 3, but then they're pretty sure about their questions. But I would say that, in that, given the time that you have, try to maximize your score. In case verbal ability happens to be your strength, then make a decision there and then only whether you want to, let's say, leave a particular RC altogether or not. Because again, as I always say, it's not that a difficult RC cannot have easy questions, but it all depends on the time that you have there. Right? Always prioritize your VA part first, meaning your grammar, your vocabulary, your parajumbles, and your poem comprehension. In case, let's say, you're comfortable with poems first, and then go to the RCs. Otherwise, at least these 3. I attempt these 3 first: vocab, grammar, and parajumbles. Okay, and then I go to my RC passages. Some students hop, they feel more comfortable that way, right? So decide your strategy for yourself. I go for these first. It gives me a lot of confidence that, okay, I've attempted some questions correctly, right? And then I go to the RC passages. Okay. Welcome, Arushi. Welcome. Eon is important for that. Yes, Jesuman. You look at the previous year papers and you've had passages from eon.co also. And in fact, Eon has this magazine, a new magazine called psyche.co. In fact, there has been a passage from psyche.co as well. So yes, Eon is useful for that also. In fact, the kind of abstract passages that Zat asks, you'll find a lot of them, a lot of such articles in Eon. Right? So to that extent, it is useful. Yes. GMAT official guide does not share the same level, Arushi. As I said, that the GMAT bent of mind, so to say, is more logical in the sense, more critical reasoning based questions are asked. The passages tend to be more argumentative, right? Here in that, sometimes they can be highly abstract and philosophical. Sometimes the questions can be completely further application based, right? So in that sense, there are differences. However, they are close to the level in terms of difficulty level. GMAT difficult passages, they are close to the level of ZAT passages, right? For that, if you ask me, Dishano, because it's a relatively difficult exam, I would say that you need at least 6 to 7 mocks, and I'm saying at least here. If you can, take 10 mocks. Because see, ultimately in that, what are you practicing through? Previous year papers and mocks. That's all that you're practicing through, right? So 6 to 7 minimum, I would say everybody should take, because you need to learn to how to manage your time, right? You need to learn what to prioritize, right? So you need to see, okay, which section I'm going to attempt first. There are no sectional divisions as such, in the sense that it's not like you can't navigate through sections. So all that management, it needs time. Okay, it needs evolving a strategy, and you need at least 6 to 7 mocks, in my opinion, right? 10 le sakte ho to nothing like it. Okay. All right, then let's begin. So let's have a look at previous year vocabulary questions. Okay, easy questions last year. So look at this and tell me what the answer should be. Eliminate. Always eliminate in that. Okay, let's see who answers the fastest. No, no, I'm good. I'm good. Do I seem low? That's strange. So Satyansh says D. Varun 4. 4, all right. So through elimination, this is not a difficult question, isn't it? See, even the words are not very difficult. Mandeep says A, all right. Okay, I've got more A's now. All right, all right. So, let's have a look. Let's have a look. I think I've given you more than 30 seconds for this. So, see, through elimination, first of all, this is contextual vocabulary. So, you have to read this first, right? You have to understand this first. And if you see, we are talking about some inventions here, some technologies, computers, internet, and laser. All three were unplanned. Okay, unplanned dash and dash. So something that matches this unplanned has to come in the second and the third blank, right? Unplanned dash and okay, dash upon their discovery and remained dash well after their initial use. So they were something upon their discovery also and remained dash even after their initial use. So if I say they were unplanned, all three were unplanned, astonishing, and amazing upon their discovery and amazing well after their initial use. No, probably something on the lines of, let's say, known, unknown, appreciated, unappreciated. That will come here, right? Whether they were popular or not popular, whether they were liked or disliked, right? Something of that sort should come. So when we eliminate, five matches, see, five matches the best because unplanned and unpredicted go hand in hand. Amazing when you say you are appreciating something. Oh, this is amazing, right? So unpredicted is something that fits with unplanned, that we hadn't really predicted that something like this would happen, right? Some technology like this would come. And unappreciated upon their discovery and remained unappreciated well after their initial use. Okay, shocking well after their initial use. Why did they remain shocking well after it? Moreover, amazing is appreciative. Then this does not match. These are all antonyms. So fulfilling upon their discovery and remained unfulfilling. That does not make sense, right? And if you look at these two, so compare them with five. That's how you attempt vocabulary based fill in the blanks. So they were unplanned, astonishing, okay, fine, accepted, astonishing. We are saying that, okay, they were surprising. And amazing upon their discovery and remained amazing well after their initial use. Superb upon their discovery and remained superb well after their initial. So it does not match as much as unappreciated, unpredicted, unplanned. Both seem to be the words carrying the same connotation, right? Whereas here the connotation becomes positive, whereas unplanned ka positive nahi hai, right? So I hope this makes sense. Easy question this was. I still explained all the options to you so that you understand that how to eliminate in the exam. Right? Yes, absolutely, Satyansh. When I say unplanned, unpredicted, so it does not carry a positive connotation there. Good. Okay. Let's go for the second one. So again, a close test of sorts. Four blanks here. Tell me which one best fills up these blanks. Yes. No difficult vocabulary words again. These technologies are unappreciated. We are talking about three technologies: computers, internet, and laser. Okay, let's see who answers the fastest. All right. So, if you look at this, one, a lot of you are saying already, right? One or three, you are confused. Then some of you say two. Okay. Okay. Five, all right. So, pretty divided responses on this one. Others, I've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 responses I've got so far. What about others? Okay. The moment we no longer have a free press, anything can happen. What makes it dash for a totalitarian or any other dictatorship to rule is that dash are not informed. So look at just this part here. What makes it dash for a totalitarian or any other dictatorship Okay, so totalitarianism is a form of dictatorship where you talk about complete, total control over the lives of your citizens. So, what makes it dash for a totalitarian or any other dictatorship to rule is that dash are not informed. So, basically, probably we are talking about the people, the citizens, right? We are talking about them. So, people, subjects, plebeians, citizens, anything fits, but senators does not fit. We are talking about the common man here, so to say. So, 4 is eliminated. Yes? Okay. Then, what makes it unpleasant? Will this fact make it unpleasant for a totalitarian regime to rule? It will make it easy for them, in fact, that people are not informed. So, unpleasant is eliminated, necessary is eliminated. Absurd. Why absurd? Why will it become absurd if people are not informed? So, in fact, the very first blank here is the easiest, okay, in order to eliminate. Still, let's have a look at the other options, as in the other blanks also. If everybody always lies to you, the dash is not that you believe the lies, but rather that nobody believes anything any longer. So, the consequence, right? The result, the consequence is that nobody believes you any longer. Nobody believes anything any longer, in fact. What have I written? Consequence. That's what I wanted to write. Okay. So, possible, people, consequence. A lying government has constantly to rewrite its history. Has constantly to rewrite its history. So, this is the best choice here. One, not the others. Yes, in that you have 5 options always. Okay. All right. Senators are your members of the parliament, right? So in the US, they have a Senate. So they are called senators, right? Here we call them MPs, MLAs. Okay, so उसी level के होते हैं. Right. So 1 is the answer here. Hope this is clear. Plebeians are also commoners, right? Plebiscite you must have heard of. Anybody who's heard of a plebiscite? A political term, right? It's often so. For instance, in during Brexit, in order to decide whether Britain should exit Europe or not, basically European Union or not, it can't really physically exit Europe. There was a plebiscite that was conducted in which people had to say yay or nay, yes or no, whether they wanted to remain a part of European Union or whether they wanted to exit, right? Okay, so Charu, a good question, constantly appears to be absurd because I should say to constantly rewrite. Yes, it has to constantly rewrite. So it appears like constantly to rewrite क्यों किया हुआ है इसने? So the thing is, it comes down to a rule of grammar that is usually not strictly followed. Okay, it's called a split infinitive. Split infinitive. So pure grammarians, the strict grammarians, they say that when you have an infinitive, so to rewrite here is an infinitive. To plus rewrite is a verb, right? Base form of the verb. So this is an infinitive here. So they said never split an infinitive. In दोनों के बीच में कुछ ऐसे don't put anything in between, right? But we often do this because it feels more natural. Okay, to say it like this. So to constantly rewrite feels more natural as compared to constantly to rewrite. However, strict grammarians, they say that a split infinitive is an error. You can't really separate this to and this base form of the verb by putting some other word in between. So that is why the strict rule has been observed here, and that's why we've written has constantly to rewrite. Okay, I hope this makes sense. All right, all right. Clear? And even if, let's say, you didn't know this grammar rule, let's say, right? So then also, if I look at these other words, so this is because lies by their very nature have to be changed. They have to be changed. And a lying government has dashed to rewrite its own history. So has no reason. This becomes illogical. It has every reason to rewrite its own history because lies have to be changed. So it needs to update. Has forced does not fit. A lying government has forced. Has forced whom? Has been forced must, could have made sense, but has forced whom? Not written. Okay. A lying government has enough. Okay, fine. This can fit, right? But we already rejected it because of senators. Then has unusually. we don't need, has unusually done what? Has unusually to rewrite. This does not fit at all. So only fourth, only enough could fit here, and that we had already rejected because of senators. Because हम लोगों की बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर, right? We're not talking about the MPs and MLAs, the politicians, right? Politicians are very well informed. They're dictators, right? Hope this makes sense. All right, let's go to the next then. So this was vocabulary, and as you saw, we did not have a lot of difficult words last year. Okay, however, we had to understand the surrounding words, the context, and we had to eliminate. So always proceed through elimination in XAT vocabulary. It's not that you cannot get difficult words, but it has been, let's say, out of the past 6-year papers that you will see, in 1 year, you will see that, okay, the words have been quite difficult. Otherwise, in most of the years, you get asked contextual vocabulary. Okay. Next is critical reasoning. Yes, Trish, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. But then that's human nature. No, humans always dispute. Yes, they always dispute with each other. So this is a dilemma that all social sciences also face, not just languages, right? So critical reasoning, quite a few critical reasoning questions last year, right? So 4 questions, and 2 of them were tricky, right? Also, most of them, in fact, all of them were conclusion questions last year. However, that does not mean that other question types such as assumption, strengthening, weakening, they cannot be asked. No, they can also very well be asked in the exam. So I have brought 2 questions from last year, right? If you see, one of the question stem says, which of the following statements can be best concluded from the passage? And look at the other one. Which of the following statements cannot be concluded from the excerpt? So, one, again, they're asking, the concept remains the same, but then here what cannot be concluded, whereas here what can be concluded. You have done such questions in CAT, so it's not a very new question type for you as such, in terms of question stem at least. So let's have a look at this paragraph, and you have to tell me what can be best concluded. Remember that you have to eliminate, you have to compare the options, okay? And again, it's a conclusion question, so you have to pay attention to the entire paragraph, right? So let's attempt this question. Okay, once you attempt it, then we'll go into the concept of it. Acha, I think I'm hiding the option. Just a second. Okay, let me rather hide myself. Yeah. Okay, I've already got some responses. Others? All right, all right. So let's have a look whether you got a +1 here or not. Let's see. 2, 3. Okay, so 2 versus 3 it is. All right. Any other option that you feel can come here? Those who are saying 3. Are we talking about disasters in this paragraph? Did we name the word? I mean, did we in fact use anything close to disaster? We're talking about geological events from what I can see. Yes, so we haven't really named or we haven't really discussed disasters anywhere. Okay, so three should have been eliminated. Okay, then you should have compared one with five. I'm sure a lot of you did because nobody answered one. Okay, so one says not all species go extinct once every 27.5 million years. Can I be sure of this? When you answer a conclusion question, ideally in a logical world, a conclusion is something that is true based on the text that you have just read, based on the para, the passage, whatever you call it. Right. So, I cannot be sure about this, that not all species go extinct. So, not all species may go extinct. Had it been that, I would have accepted it. So, not sure. 5, all species go extinct. Again, not sure. Eliminated. 3, we are not talking about disasters. So, it's between 2 and 4. 4 says that it is constant. Again, am I sure of this? Because see, in 1920s and 30s, they suggested a 30 million year cycle. Then in 1980s and 1990s, with the best available information, they suggested a range. Now it says everything seems to be in order, and this is right about where we would expect. So this is also expected. Yes. So this is right about where we would expect. So whether it is constant or not, again, I can't be sure. Moreover, I told you that this is a conclusion question. I have to take the entire paragraph into account. So, one of the main points of this paragraph is not that they are constant, it is the fact that, through to these geological events, mass extinctions are related. A study late last year suggested that this 27.5 million year mark is when mass extinctions happen too. So that means these geological pulses, so to say, right? And they, as in this period, right, 27.5 million years के बाद ये जो breaks हैं, ये and mass extinctions are correlated. That is something that I can conclude from the entire paragraph. And that's why 2 is the one that is the answer. We first talk about what a geological pulse is, the different periods that have been suggested and what we have finally come down to, right? And then we talk about how mass extinctions, a study suggested that at this very point mass extinctions happen. तो ये आपका best fit है. All right. So I hope this makes sense. Sporadically is not the opposite of periodically. In the sense, sporadic is something that's not constant, right? Something that's irregular. So occasional. So periodical is not an antonym there. Periodical bhi to occasionally hota na. It means something that's not constant. So it's not an antonym. Okay. So I hope this makes sense to everyone. Why 2 is the answer. This was a fairly logical question. ये question was a very logical one. मतलब आप eliminate करके बता सकते थे कि क्या best conclusion है इसमें. Right. Let's have a look at another question. Okay. Now this is again a conclusion question. You have to this time tell me what cannot be concluded from the excerpt. Remember that you might feel in this question that a lot of options are such that you can't be sure about. राइट दैट यू कांट बी श्योर अबाउट हाउएवर कौन सी सबसे एब्सर्ड है वो आपकी आंसर है कौन सी सबसे फारदेस्ट अपार्ट है फ्रॉम व्हाट इज रिटन इन द टेक्स्ट दैट इज योर आंसर सो वेन एवर थिंग्स बिकम वेरी हेजी इन सच क्वेश्चंस ऑलवेज लुक फॉर द वन जो सबसे ज्यादा गलत लग रही है राइट दैट इज द वन दैट यू कैन नॉट कॉन्क्लूड ऑलराइट सो लेट्स हैव अ लुक All right, let's see, let's see. I'm not hiding anything here. Great. Okay. All right, all right. 3, 4, 5. Okay. 3, 4, 5. I've got all these three. All right. Quite a few threes. Others? Just these many responses. That's it. Okay. So I'm glad that many of you said 3 because 3 is the answer, right? The overwhelming preponderance of something is abundance of something, okay? So the overwhelming number of people, that's what I want to say here, abundance of people. Okay, they have not freely decided what to believe, but rather have been socially conditioned. And see, in bracket, the author writes the word indoctrinated. This has a negative connotation. Indoctrination is when I actually instruct and put in your head my ideology. That is indoctrination. So, have been socially conditioned, indoctrinated into their beliefs. Okay, so that means these people have not formed their own opinions, rather, they have just taken the beliefs of whatever others have told them, others have instructed them, indoctrinated them to. So, that's why these people are unreflective thinkers. Now, what cannot be concluded? If you ask me, the options here, quite a few of them are very hazy. I can't really say, Acha, this I can definitely say, right? However, as I told you, I have to find the one that is the farthest from what is given in the text. 3 is the farthest. Why? Because it says a lot of people end up believing what they passionately oppose. When do you oppose something? When you have a belief about the opposite of it, right? That's when you will passionately oppose something. But here, these people have not formed their own beliefs. They have not really decided what to believe, what not to believe. So, how will they passionately oppose something first? Right? The text does not talk about passionately opposing anything. Moreover, passionately opposing something means that you believe in the opposite of it. So that is why right at the outset, this should be, this is something that we cannot conclude. Right? So 3 is the answer. Now let's see why not the others. Yes, from where did oppose came? Correct answer. Come. Correct, Mandeep. Correct question you've raised. Right? Okay. So, Mandeep, periodic means occurring at intervals. These could be fixed intervals, regular intervals also. However, that need not be the case, that they have to be fixed or regular intervals. That's the meaning of the word. So, it's possible that in mathematics, it's used for regular intervals only. But generally, the meaning of the word is occurring at intervals. That's it. Okay. So I was talking to you about this cannot be concluded. Now let's look at first things that we automatically things that we do automatically need to be reflected upon. So this somewhere is there in this paragraph because somebody was not thought of what they are doing, they are being called unreflective thinkers. That means had they been reflective thinkers, they would not have automatically done this, believed what others told them. So that's why one is something that I can still say, okay, on the basis of this paragraph, ye to lag raha hai, right? Okay, so eliminated. 2, the inability to criticize one's belief leads to indoctrination. So here, indoctrination is basically what others have told you. You've been socially conditioned into this belief, right? So social conditioning means that, okay, others have told you what to do and you haven't really freely decided about it. That means you haven't criticized this, right? So again, indirectly, this also seems right that, okay, this person never really criticized anything, they just believed what they were told by others, and that led to the indoctrination is you are assimilating the ideologies of others. So even इसको भी हम बोल सकते हैं कि अच्छा लग रहा है, right? Beliefs that appear normal and natural heighten their acceptance. So beliefs that appear normal and natural heighten their acceptance. So basically, people tend to believe those beliefs that appear normal and natural. See, to be honest, normal, natural, these are not the words that have been mentioned in our paragraph, right? We have talked about conditioning. If I give you an exact definition of conditioning is basically when you accustom a person to behave in a certain way, that is accepted, that is socially accepted. So probably we are calling what is socially accepted as normal and natural here. So ये बहुत iffy है. But when you compare 3 and 4, 3 is still worse. 3 is still farther apart, and that's why we mark 3. Right? And lastly, a normal thinker finds it difficult to recognize what is happening to them. So probably by normal, I mean someone who is not reflective. So even this is not a very good, if I have to say that this can be concluded, I would be wrong, right? So ये भी बहुत iffy है again. But if compare it with 3, 3 is the worst. That's why we have marked 3. So this was a relatively trickier question when compared to the previous one, which was fairly logical enough. वो काफी logical question था. But sometimes that questions can be like this, and that is why elimination is your best friend. Okay. All right, let's see what you are saying. Okay, and which will be cleared by March. Pranjal, I'll have to ask someone this, how this can be resolved. Okay, if you can sit or not, if you can reveal this to the interviewers, I'll just check this with someone and then get back to you. Okay, in the next session. Today's at 7, I have a session, so I'll ask it in this mid duration. Okay. Yes, in verbal reasoning of SNAP, in the reasoning section of SNAP, you do get some critical reasoning questions. Okay. Usually, however, they appear to be on the easier side. They are not very difficult as such. So, see this level of a question, this can appear in SNAP also, right? Easy to moderate, I would call it. उससे ज़्यादा difficult नहीं है ये. Okay. However, I haven't seen such hazy options in SNAP. Okay. So, क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग ऐसा नहीं है स्नैप में नहीं आती है, रीजनिंग सेक्शन में आता है वो, राइट? इंग्लिश सेक्शन में नहीं आता है. ओके. Had the question been what can be concluded? Okay, we'll look at that. Couldn't understand this. Oh my god, my cat 1 was horrible this time. I 8 options in almost every question. RCs in SNAP, we can't be sure, Kshitij. We'll have to see, right? Last 2 years they weren't there. Before that they used to be there. Arjun, which option did you not understand? You can just tell me that and I will then clarify this to you. Yes. You can ask. I agree with you, Shresht, that if let's say we had to mark what can be concluded, then even I would mark 2 in the exam. Okay. All right, then let's come to grammar. You can tell me this, Arjun, कुछ specific अगर issue है तो. I did not take it. I received feedback from Srinivas sir. He took it and he conducted an analysis also. So you can watch that analysis of MyCat 1. Right? RCs in plural, we can't be sure. See, first of all, let's not assume that there are going to be multiple RCs. Okay, there are just 15 questions. So if at all they give you multiple RCs, they'll be very short with very few questions. That is going to be the case. And probably then the level would be in accordance with the fact that you have to attempt the other sections also in a span of 60 minutes, right? So don't worry about that. In case RCs are there, maybe there are direct questions. Maybe you can be, you can just scan and then attempt just the direct questions. And if they're there for everybody. So don't think about what may be, whatever will be there, you'll be able to handle it. Okay. Grammar. Let's have a look at this. So incorrect, correct usage, these questions came. And see prepositions. So prepositions are important everywhere. So you have to tell me where the word has been, where the sentence is incorrect. Incorrect usage of the preposition in the sentence. Kavya, we've had some sessions for IFT. You can check them out. Okay. Very recently, Vikrant sir took a session. on IFT, how to score 35 on 35, right? So you can check that out. For MyCAT, we've had strategy sessions, right? Uh, if we can have, I mean, I'll talk to my team if we can have more sessions for MyCAT, right? Okay, incorrect usage of preposition. Let's see. So always go for the one that appears the most erroneous to you, right? That you feel okay, इसमें तो error है ही है. Start with that. So which one is such a sentence जो गलत लग ही रहा है? The manager was sitting at the desk. My work is superior to yours. I prefer coffee than tea. She was accused for stealing gold. Are we accused for something or are we accused of something? They are leaving to England soon. This actually, to me, this was the most glaring error. They are leaving to England soon. If they are going to England, you say they are going to England soon, or you say they are leaving for England soon if they are going to England. Not they are leaving to England, right? So 6 was definitely erroneous, and that is why I eliminated B, D, and E. Then 3 definitely has an error, so I did not even check 3. Okay, it comes down to 1 and 4. 1 and 4. So, a lot of students say, why at here? Why is the manager sitting at the desk? But see, if this is the desk of the manager वहीं पे पास में chair पे बैठे है ना, right? The manager cannot sit on the desk. The manager will not sit on the desk itself. Table पर नहीं बैठेगा वो. So, at the desk is appropriate in fact. Okay, so that's why we eliminate. And C is the answer. 3, 4, 6. Yes, obvious errors. Accused of, leaving for, and this one, I prefer coffee to tea. Okay, not than. When you use the term prefer, you prefer A to B, not A than B. Right? Similarly, superior to someone, not superior than someone. Prefer, superior, inferior, senior, junior. They take to as a preposition and not than. Okay? Hope this is clear. An exception is always to the rule, never for the rule. A lot of students think that it's exception for the rule. Exception of the rule. No, exception to the rule. Always. Right, so I hope this is clear. This was about prepositions. I've told you to read prepositions carefully for all your non-CAT exams, SNAP, NMAT, and even IFT, XAT, right? सब में help करेगा if you read prepositions, study prepositions. So let's have a look at another question. You have to tell me which is grammatically correct here, right? Correct. Okay. So, which is correct here? This time it's not about incorrect, remember. All right, let's see what you say. I'll address your queries, don't worry. Let's just finish this also and then let's collectively address the queries of both the questions. Okay, so this is what you say. 456 A, C, 156, all right. Okay, I hope I'm not hiding options. It's 3, 4, 5. The last one is 3, 4, 5. I didn't realize that I'm hiding. I prefer coffee. Acha, just a second. I'll answer all the queries. Don't worry. Prefer, so there are a lot of queries regarding prefer. Let's have a look. See, prefer to is preferred, right? Prefer A to B. So the formal usage is I prefer A to B, not A over B, right? That's what I've seen in a lot of dictionaries, in a lot of grammar books. Okay, then you're asking prefer something more. See, prefer, superior, inferior, senior, junior, they are all comparative words. So you do not need more. You do not need than with them. No more, no than, right? Hope this is clear. So there's nothing like more superior, prefer more. I hope this is clear, right? By the desk means near the desk. By the desk, someone asked this. By the desk is near the desk. So he sat at his desk is more appropriate. If I'm talking about someone's desk और वो वहीं बैठा है, then at his desk is more appropriate. Okay. If you went by his desk, that means you just passed by it, right? So in that case, by is fine. Okay. So now cope up is correct, but cope up with is incorrect. See, cope with. Up is not required. Even with, okay. She's trying to cope. Okay. So she's trying to cope or she's trying to cope up. Tell me. Cope with the loss of something, right? So cope means that you're trying to deal with something. So she's trying to cope with stress, not cope up with stress. She's trying to cope, here what's the sentence? Let's just have a look. Cope with academic pressure. So here it is academic pressure. So cope up with nahi hota hai. Up is not required actually with cope. Okay. So this is an informal way of saying, oh, she's trying to cope up. She's trying to cope with something. All right. You need to tell किस चीज की बात हो रही है. Cope with what? Hope this is clear. Okay. Then just a second. So this is definitely incorrect. अब यहाँ पे मुझे correct बताना है. So 4 goes away right at the outset. Okay. Then a lot of students think this is incorrect. Okay, so so they start from here. I would again say that start from something that you're absolutely sure about. So for instance, I felt that 5 is correct. 5 I did not see any error. So I narrowed down to C and E, C, D and E at that point right away. Okay, then my friend is good at playing football. Again, I don't see any errors here, right? Appears to be a perfectly fine sentence to me. So C is going to be the answer here. 1 is in fact correct. A lot of students think that it should be OFF off here. No. The phrasal verb is dispose of. OF, single off. Okay, which means to discard or to get rid of. So have you any clothes to dispose of? Absolutely fine sentence. What is wrong with 2? What is wrong with 2? Yes. Anybody? I saw a pleasant dream last night. Saw is incorrect here. See, in Hindi we say मैंने एक सपना देखा, but in English you have dreams. Okay, so I had a pleasant dream last night. That's what you'll say. Not I saw a pleasant dream. You had a dream. So that's the difference there between the two languages. So 2 had this error. What is the error in 3? Who will tell me? I dreamt something last night. I dreamt something last night. Mandeep, even that would be correct. Okay, yes. What is the error in 3? Who will tell me? This is a something that we study in subject-verb agreement. Okay, one of the rules that we study there. Yes. Okay. Many a times or many a time. The moment you have it has to be time. It's not many a girls. It's many a girl. Many a boy. Many a time. Okay, with you will write the singular. It means the same as many times. Meaning same hai. Many times, many a time. The meaning is same. This is just a more literary way of writing it. Many a time. Okay, but this is wrong. It should be many a time. A very common error. All right. So I hope this is clear to you. These 3 were correct. Then we've also understood up is not required. Okay, the errors. So great. So this was about grammar, right? In case I forget to address your queries, you can again repost them, right? Sometimes it just gets beyond me. Coming to poem comprehension, right? Let's have a look at a couple of poems also, because 2 came last year. One had 2 questions, one had 1, and one was easy. One was relatively more challenging, but again, 1 question was easy there. right? So poems are not as tough as students think that they are, and you can give them a shot, particularly when you get theme questions based on them, whenever you have such questions, right? So let's have a look. Poems. Read this one and let's attempt a question. Okay. Let's see, let's see. Read this? Acha, okay. Again, I'm hiding it. I am so sorry. This, it's this. Okay. Yeah. Read this? Last line is, sometimes I wonder, was it a fair trade? Okay, perfect. So let's go to the question. I've tried to keep the poem also on the left hand side so that you don't face a problem. Which of the following best reflects the theme of the poem? Yes. Eliminate again. Okay, Abhishek says 4. All right. Okay, okay. So a lot of you say 4 here. Should I? Acha, let me just become visible once. Okay. Others say 4. So see here, I understand that the part about identity comes out to be dominant. Okay. So when you read the poem, you realize that this is someone who has given up something and acquired something in return, but she's wondering, was it a fair trade? Right. And this person also does not look very happy right now to us. Yes, that's also there. So, therefore, this appears to be something that is related. But the word irreparable, our loss of identity is irreparable. Whereas when we end the poem, she ends on this note, sometimes I wonder, was it a fair trade? So she herself is a little unsure about it. Sometimes I wonder, was it a fair trade? She is unhappy, yes. But can I very definitively say that the loss of identity is irreparable? This, don't you think that considering that the person, the poet, is unsure, basically the person who is this character is unsure, irreparable would be extreme in that light. So while 4, to be very honest, this entire poem looks like it's about identity only. Okay, the word irreparable makes it extreme. So no, 4 is not the answer. Which one would you choose as the next best option? Tell me that. This was a tricky question. I absolutely empathize with you. So you say 3 as okay, 1. 2 was also okay. 2 has also been extended. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5 also. But 5, how can 5 be the answer? That is something that I eliminated outrightly because it says our concern for loss is more than what we gain. this person is not, again, the poet is not outrightly saying that. In fact, the poet is wondering, was it a fair trade? The conclusion has not been drawn here. So I cannot say that our concern for loss is more than what we gain. This result, this conclusion has not been derived in the poem. Okay. As the future unfolds, our distant past looks pleasant. Um, it again, it's not something that is there in the theme of the poem. Probably you, when you read it, you felt like, okay, probably she's assigning a better value to her past. But the poet's words don't really say this, that okay, now it looks pleasant to me because I am in this situation. Now this thing looks pleasant to me. No. So I think nostalgia is not something, nostalgic recollection undermines materialistic gains. These seem to be personal opinions rather than the theme of the poem. One is the answer that was extended by XAT last year, and it says that our quest for love is accompanied with pain. So we can sense pain here. It hurts to walk on new legs, the curse of consonants, the wobble of vowels. Okay, and you, for whom I gave up a kingdom, can never love that thing that I was. So this person has probably given up something in order to gain someone's love, right? But this person is not happy about it. It hurts, right? So that is why one is something that at least matches what the poem says. 2 and 3 are personal opinions that you guys are deriving, that okay, usko lag raha hai aisa abhi, and you know, she's undermining materialistic gains. Oh, all right. The fourth is extreme, and fifth is not, the conclusion is not drawn in the poem. So I absolutely agree with you, right? That this one is something that was a tricky question, and one is not something that you think of when you read all the options one, for the first time. तो हम ऐसा नहीं सोचते हैं कि वन आंसर निकल जाएगा, बट एक्चुअली में इसमें वन आंसर था, राइट? आई फील दैट this is not exactly the theme of the poem. If you ask me, in an ideal scenario, this should not have been extended the answer. In fact, fourth should have been framed in a better way. Instead of irreparable, we could probably say that okay, yes, this loss of identity is bothering her. We can clearly see that, right? Irreparable नहीं, पर उसको हाँ bother जरूर कर रहा है. So that's my personal opinion. Anyway, Zach ने extend किया था answer, so we'll have to go with it. Through elimination, we could arrive at it. Otherwise, no. Let's have a look at this. This is easier. Yes. What do you say? What does the author best mean by once I had a voice, now I have legs? 5 options. Okay, Arjun, I'll explain the entire poem. Don't worry. Five, four, two. Vignesh, I can say that okay, she might think, it is a possibility that she thinks that it's not fair. It is a possibility, okay, that she thinks that it is not fair. However, I can't be sure about it because the author has left it at that wondering. The author has not gone beyond that. So maybe yes, she thinks it's not fair considering that it's hurting her right now. Okay, but can I be sure about it? No, I can't be sure about it because I don't have the other words of the poem, or basically the author didn't write any further, the poet didn't write any further. तो मैं sure नहीं हो सकती उसके बारे में, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, all right, all right. See, this is easy, right? Once I had a voice, now I have legs. So once she had something, now she has something else in place of it. Okay. But it's not literally about her speech. It's not literally about her speech. Her actions speak louder than her words. This is, first of all, it's a proverb. When your actions speak louder than your words, that means you believe in doing rather than talking. And that is not the implication at all here. Okay, once she had a voice, here voice is related to the fact that you felt heard. You had an identity back then. Now you have legs. Now probably you have mobility, right? So this is associated with upward mobility, with success. Now I have legs. So 3, no. It is indecisive about choosing between the two words. Not from these two sentences. Not from these two sentences I can infer that. The poet puts less value on the new world. Again, from these two sentences I can't infer this. 2 is the only possible answer here. This was an easy one. She is contemplative of his or her identity. That एक time था जब मेरे पास voice थी एक. Now I have legs. So basically it's like her identity has changed. Once she had something, now she has something else. So 2 is the answer here. Right? Contemplative is when you're thinking about something. So yes, when you say this, no, once I had a voice, now I have legs. So you are kind of looking at your situation, no, that पहले ऐसा था, अब ऐसे है. So you are thinking about it, right? So she's thinking. Contemplative is simply thinking or reflecting on something. Okay, it hurts. So 5 is more suitable. But bache, we have to just look at these two sentences here, not the entire poem. Okay, not the entire poem. I don't have to look at it. I just have to look at these 2 sentences here. Okay. Hope this makes sense. Everyone. So I understand that poems can be tricky at times, but again, my suggestion to you would be just choose the easier ones. Okay, the ones that you think are easy. Okay, and practice poems. So this is something that you haven't really practiced for any other exam. So practice them for that ones. Look at the previous year poems ones, and you'll find that some of them are indeed easy. Har poem difficult nahi hoti hai, so don't just paint all of them with the same brush. That is my suggestion. If you feel that they're easy in the exam, attempt them. If you don't attempt them. You don't have to attempt every question in XAT. Right? That's one of the beauties of XAT. So I hope today's session helped you. We will attempt parajumble questions in our next session. We'll talk about RC passages also, right? And we will probably see more poems as well. So don't worry about it. I'll see you in the next XAT session. I'll tell you when it happens. Today at 7 p.m. though, we are meeting for SNAP. And SNAP particularly the verbal reasoning part. So all of these things like course of action, statement assumption, statement conclusion, etc. I'll talk to you about them today. Okay. This is our CAT 23 program. I think you already know about this. If you don't, then you can read all the details here. It's a pretty comprehensive program. Do recommend it to your friends who are preparing for CAT. And yes, straight after the first slot, as in the 10th December exam of SNAP, we will have an analysis, right? We'll talk about all the things there. So those of you who filled the form for the next 2 slots, right, they can actually benefit a lot from this. And those who already, those will be taking it on 10th, of course, you guys will also benefit, right? So do attend this. This is already going on. I'll see you today at 7. Okay, so again, do join. And yes, for that, we are bringing an All India Open Mock. So see some of your practice material right here. It will be live from 14th to 23rd. Do take this, okay? I think all of you should take this. Right, and stay connected with us through all these apps. Yes, through the social media, very important. Just a second. Other sources of poems apart from previous year questions. Unfortunately, apart from that, only in a couple of CAT exams have poems been asked, right? So if you see 2003 के पेपर में आपको leaked and retest में you will find a couple of poems, right? And apart from this, SNAP has asked poems recently, but then it has asked parts of speech questions later on based on poems. So grammar questions have been asked. So what you can do is, in case you want to increase your comprehension of poems, so when you practice that previous year poems, no, see from which all poets these have been asked. So for instance, if I tell you some, Robert Frost की poems पूछी हुई हैं, रूमी की पूछी हुई हैं, Vikram Seth, right? His poems have been questioned on. So just see who are the poets and read some other poems by them. Right, read some other poems by them. Poem Hunter is a beautiful website where you'll get a lot of poems, right? So through that you can increase your poem comprehension, or you could buy some books of poems. So for instance, Pablo Neruda's poems are beautiful. You could consider buying Pablo Neruda's books. Rumi's collection of poems you could consider buying. So this is how you'll have to prepare for them, because unfortunately not many exams ask you poems. right? Okay. All right, all right. This is a moderate to difficult poem, Abhishek. Okay? Moderate to difficult poem. Bacha, I said that that option should have been better framed, Mandeep. To me, this poem is about identity, if you ask me. But then the loss of identity is irreparable. That option was extreme. Because of that, we rejected it. Okay? Hope this makes sense. All right then. I'll see you. When will we get the video solutions of XAT? Once the window is over. After 23rd of December. Okay. All right then. Welcome all of you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. See you at 7. I'll see you at 7. Bye.